given you fought both of them, Okolie versus Riakporhe, you've already said you don't want to step up to the heavyweight division because you feel naturally you're best placed in the cruiserweights. How do you see that fight going, having fought both of them?
I look at it, I've been asked this a lot, obviously, since it's been made, and I look at it, you look at their careers, Lawrence hasn't lost a lot of rounds in boxing, like, through his career. Obviously, I beat him, but I've got 200 to 300 rounds of sparring experience and a coach who knew him really well. Yeah. So we knew him and we knew his weaknesses. So if you haven't shared the ring with him much, it's hard to figure him out. Lawrence knows how to, if he doesn't knock you out, he knows how to still win rounds. Might not be pretty, but he knows how to do it. Richard's lost a lot of rounds. He's been down in fights and his power's carried him through. Dion Juma. I thought the Jack Massey fight was really close. Me and him was, really close. Sam Hyde, he was losing early on in his career. Yeah, the first one. So yeah, and then off the, he'd had a too long a break, I think, as well. I think, obviously, I think he's moving trainers now.
I think heavyweight is key here as well, though. Lawrence Okolie is naturally much bigger guy, right?
Yes, but I think Richard will put it on the right way, whereas Lawrence, as we've seen, has looked fleshy, probably a bit too heavy in his last fight, which I don't think he'll be near that in this fight. He'll probably lose another stone and a half.
So who would you pick?
I would pick Lawrence, but I think the only factor is if Lawrence is very energetic in the way he boxes, and sometimes if he doesn't knock someone out early, it becomes messy, it becomes tiring for him and his opponent because he's tying him up. But if Richard stays calm and can carry his power late on into the fight when Lawrence is tired, he might be able to find the shot. I don't think so. I think I'd pick... Obviously, they're both going to carry power. I think Lawrence is going to land a lot more, though. Lawrence is very hard to hit clean. And I think You
managed it?
Yeah, but like I said,
you had inside knowledge.
I had that insight, and we knew the shots that we could land on him and his mistakes and stuff.
So you're going Okolie?
So I'd pick Lawrence.
Yeah. What did you make of the Gervonta Davis notes over the weekend?
Do you know what? I feel that his opponent was very hard done by, if I'm totally honest, because Gervonta taking a knee, the way that he took that knee, should have warranted a count. The referee started a count and then decided not to count, let him go back to his corner. I understand from his point of view, when he said that, Gervonta, that grease, when you've got like gel in your hair or whatever and you're just sparring, you've got a head guard in, it stings like mad, right? So I understand that having products in your hair does sting. Schoolboy error from him. He's going in 2 days before to get his,
I'm sorry,
get his hair done.
Don't have him in your hair. Like,
yeah,
if they're
schoolboy error.
Yeah.
But I feel that he should have been penalised for it, and he wasn't penalised for it, and that was the difference between winning, losing, or draw.
Well, I mean, the WBA have got to get involved. This has got to be looked at, and whether the worst case scenario is a rematch, which is the most likely of the. I don't think they're going to award and take the decision away from Gervonta Davis. I don't think they're going to rewrite the record book. I think if there's a best case scenario, we've seen the WBA, we've seen Frank Warren debate with the WBA about Daniel Dubois and Alexander Usyk with the low blow. We know that they're not the most responsive. In this one, this is clearly a refereeing.
It'll be an immediate rematch. You know, they're not going to overturn any decision. And I saw the New York State Athletic Commission actually said that there was problems with their equipment, and that's why they couldn't rerun to see what had happened with
it's
this.
Not problems with the referee's eyes, are they?
Yeah, no, exactly. It's exactly right. But so I think that they're just going to go, you know what? Let's just rerun it. And I think that they have to do that because I think that it was wrong. The decision as it stood was probably wrong. I think Gervonta was lucky to get away with a draw, and we need to see it again.
What do you make of the circumstances that Joseph Parker finds himself in? His reward for being very significantly, putting in very significant performance recently was the fight against Daniel Dubois. Prepares for the fight, we all know what happens. He now finds himself on the outside looking in, as it appears that Daniel may well be off for an undisputed against Alexander Usyk. I mean, where do you think that should land?
Was Parker mandatory for?
No, voluntary.
And
that's the only thing.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. I think Daniel. I don't think there's any malice in terms of him pulling out because he's hurt.
No.
I think he was ill. No. I think it happened, and he, probably thought, I'll beat Parker, then I'll fight Usyk.
Yeah.
The Parker fight hasn't happened. In Daniel's position, naturally you're gonna chase the biggest fight out there. in Usyk. From Joe's, yeah, you're going to be annoyed, but unfortunately that is boxing. As a voluntary defence, if the champion pulls out, most likely you're not going to get it. You're not going to get that.
You're not tied in as voluntary. You get that opportunity. If the opportunity doesn't materialise, it's the nature of the beast. It's unfortunate for Joseph Parker. We love Joseph as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he deserves that shot. And I think that's why people are getting frustrated.
Yeah.
Because he had the shot, it fell out at the 11th hour, and now people are going, well, surely that should be immediately ordered as the fight that should happen next. Well, no, because he's the voluntary. That's where the problem lies. And from Daniel's side of things, he's going, well, Usyk's now looking for that dance partner. They want the undisputed. It's a natural fight.
And he feels he's robbed in the first fight, Daniel. Yeah. So he's going to want that. And it's just an unfortunate set of circumstances. I think that.
Where do you think Joseph will go?
Well, there's big fights out there. Caball's the one that comes to mind. You know, the guy that's sort of like really now. He deserves that opportunity now. Like he's earned that right. And you go, Joseph Parker is the next big name that he should be getting there. Caball versus Joseph Parker. The only unfortunate thing for both of those guys, there's no titles on the line.
No reward,
but I mean, look, that's the sort
financially they could be with Turkey involved,
absolutely,
because I'm sure he'd love both those guys.
On Friday evening we got Tasha Jonas versus Lauren Price. That's another good fight, right?
I like that fight so much. Like, Natasha Jonas has been a great pioneer for women's boxing, for women's sport. 40 years of age now, two-weight world champion. And you look at her, and she was the nearly girl when she had that draw, way back when with Terry Harper. And you just think, the girl's like, is she just sort of like, is she going to be the nearly girl, the one that doesn't get over the line? The Katie Taylor fight, what an incredible performance.
But she did.
Losing that one, and then she got the opportunity. She's done that. But she's going in against, this young lioness who's like a decent fighter herself. Could all be about timing this one.
Good fight. I think Natasha. Quickly before we go, I just want to touch very quickly upon Ben Whittaker. Back in with Liam Cameron. Right thing to do. Andy Lee in his corner. Make a difference, won't it?
Huge difference. For me, Andy Lee's, he's a great student of the sport. He understands it, works it out. And that, I think, maybe what Ben Whittaker needs to reignite his career, because he's the one that's got to answer all the questions now, because only he knows when he went out the ring whether that was legitimate, whether it was a way out, and we're going to find that out, in this return. But I'm glad that we got the fight on. It shows that Ben is confident.
Yeah, and I'm really happy for Ben to get a coach. Andy's had success with Joseph Parker. Paddy Donovan, obviously performance-wise, performing really well. So, hopefully we see the best of Ben.
And Paddy Donovan, Lewis Crocker.
Carl, well, listen, where do you go with that? Yeah. Where do you go with that? You feel so sorry for Paddy Donovan because he was controlling and winning the fight, and the fight was virtually over anyway. Yeah. And
he put himself in the way of it, though, didn't he?
Listen, I think the decision stands as the right decision because the shots landed after the bell. But let me say, from a fighter's point of view, Chris, you'll probably understand or agree with me on this one. He had the momentum. As he threw the first shot, the bells rang, and he's going there, and he's let it go. You're talking about a split, so I understand how it happened, but the rules are the rules.
Rules are the rules.
And that's where we're at with it.
Yep.
Right. That's it, boys. That's it for episode 110 of Talk Boxing with Simon Jordan and Spencer Oliver. Thanks, Chris Billam-Smith, for joining us. And good luck with your fight.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time we're out.